And just need a second over here. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Let's get it. Yep, that's what I need. Nice. Okay, perfect. Nice. Now I got it. Now I'm ready. Yes, we're recording. Easy. Let's go. So natural selling, or basically selling, is the art of getting someone to buy what you have, right? But it's not actually that. Most people do normal selling, right? Sales or selling is coached or taught basically everywhere, right? Or not everywhere. You have to go, like, you have to buy books, you have to go to YouTube, stuff like that. So it's not like a general skill that we get taught in school or whatever by parents. So most people are very, 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 very poor in selling. There's someone, I listened to your podcast of natural selling, really enjoyed it. Okay, shit, then you already know what I'm going to talk about, but don't that doesn't matter, since you know, it's always new stuff that I'm going to implement. But as I said, it's one of my favorite topics and I appreciate the feedback. So we, like, as I said, skilling is not taught, right? We don't learn anything about selling. So if you are selling without having any skill in sales, you are selling very poorly, right? But that's like basic. Like, you have to understand that everything in life that you don't learn, right, basically or most likely you will do it very poor, or you will be an average, or you will just be and do like everyone does it, right? That's okay for most people, but there are a lot of people out there that to achieve greatness, right, you have to first be great and learn how to be great, and you know, get the skills in that topic. So for example, if you want to be someone that can, you know, can build networks, you will have to, you know, teach yourself how to build networks. No one teaches you how to build networks, right? When you want to build networks, for example, it's important to have a network book. It's important to have like a list, or like a, you know, like an idea of how you can store and how you can, you know, stay in contact with all of these contacts and people, right? So it's a skill. Now communication is a skill, right? Having like a partnership or a relationship or a marriage is a skill, basically. Okay, that's why most marriages or relationships are very poor, because no one taught you about how it goes, right? Like, no one, you have to have the skill, you have to learn, right? So I'm always like a person that is very, and you should be too, right? Not in every topic, you can't cover every topic, but we have some years on this earth, right? And you should always focus on developing your skills in every topic, right? It starts with sales and it ends with, I don't know, there's so much to learn every day, right? We should be humble every day, and there's never enough, and no one that can't teach us, right? Some people would say, oh, I don't talk to him, blah, blah, just because he's whatever, right? And it doesn't matter. Everyone can teach you stuff if you ask the right questions. So questions is a very important thing when it comes to life, but also when it comes to selling. Now, as I just said, most people are very poor in selling. They never learned the skill set, right? They never learned about how selling really works. And most people sell on, you know, on forcing people. Many people sell on using hot buttons, like, okay, or projecting, for example, fears, right? Saying, okay, if you don't do this, then this could happen, right? For example, if you have ever been sold to an type of one in the chat, if you have ever been sold, or someone ever sold to you an insurance, right? If you have insurance, if someone sold you an insurance, most likely this person, when this person or the insurance guy or lady sold you this insurance, they did it with fear, right? They told you, if you don't have this, then this will happen. No one has an insurance, or is my chat lagging? You guys are all you guys don't have insurance? Okay, then I'm going to sell you some insurance. That's cool. Now let's check. Is the chat like not working, or what is the problem? You guys don't have insurance? Okay, easy. Then I'm gonna send you a link, and you better get this insurance. You guys have to use the chat. Is it okay? I am getting the messages now. I don't know if it's just like you know, coming in late or whatever. But okay, I will check it out. Maybe it's have I it. Okay, you picked it yourself. That's cool. I don't know if you guys can hear me, right? Like, it's all good. I don't know. Maybe my chat is Can't be, my internet is too good. Okay, I don't know, maybe Zoom, whatever. I will check it. So you guys all have insurances, most of you guys, right? And when you got sold to an insurance, most likely the person that sold you the insurance used a hot button, okay, or used fear, or used whatever. You know, when it comes to normal selling, that's what most people use, is, as I said, fear, hot button, manipulation. Sometimes you don't even feel it, but many people manipulate you when it comes to selling, right? They use special words, they use special tactics, they play with your mind or whatever. And manipulation is good, right? If you have the skill, don't get me wrong, right? Just bear a second with me. I'm saying it's good when you have the skill, right? Because that's most likely the first skill that you learn when it comes to selling, but you will soon understand that manipulating people will end up in a lot of people, refunding, a lot of people stopping the business. So I became a master in manipulating people, right? I was so, like, when I started this business, right, I had no skills. So I taught myself skills. I learned on YouTube, on books, on whatever. And what they taught me is manipulating words, right? And I started to use them without even knowing it, that I'm using them, right? And my girlfriend was sitting next to me, or like somewhere, and was listening to me, and she started laughing. She's like, what are you doing? Like, you can't manipulate people like this. And I'm like, oh shit, like I didn't even notice, right? Sometimes if I'm in a closing call, or I'm doing, like a business call or whatever, a closing presentation, I'm so fucked up of the person, like I'm, like I just can't. It doesn't help whatever I say, then I start to manipulate, so it's just easier, so the call ends. Now, I'm just joking, but it's a skill, right? It's a skill that you learn, but it is not the end, right? It's not the best way of selling. So to finally start with giving you the nuggets about a principle called natural selling. So natural selling, right, is, how can I say it easier? So natural selling basically means that you are using the art, okay, of problem solving through asking questions and listening, right? Again, natural selling is the art of solving problems through patiently asking questions and listening, or asking question, listening. Okay, basically the art of asking questions and listening. Could you spell it maybe? You want me to spell like the whole sentence, my brother, or just like I say it again, okay? Natural selling is the art of solving problems through asking questions, or patiently asking questions and listening. Okay, basically, if you are taking notes, right, you don't have to write down the whole sentence. I'm just telling it to you, is asking questions and listening. Two very important words when it comes to selling, and two very important. I can actually just give me a live transcription. So maybe you can now also follow in the live transcription as soon as it picks up. I don't know if you see it, but I've activated the live transcription, so you should also be able to read it. So as I said, okay, it's about asking questions and being patient and listening. So most people won't listen to analyze the problem. Yeah, basically this, you have to have most of us are many times confronted with, confronted in a way, or in a situation where you are forced, or not forced, but you're basically forced to talk to a stranger. Now, how does it normally work or go, or like basically goes when you are confronted with a stranger? What is like the first question? What is the first question? Where are you from? Bro, this is so boring. Like, first question is like, where are you from? What are you doing? How is life? How is the wife? Whatever, bullshit, right? Bullshit talk. And then it somewhere ends and no one knows what to ask anymore, because no one learned about communication, right? We are so basically stupid when it comes to communication, right? It's always the same bullshit questions. So what are you doing here? Are you often, whatever bullshit, right? So basically all the girls and the women on this call they should know what I'm talking about, since whenever a man tried to pick them up, right, that's basically what happens. So for women, it's even more intense, but for us, like humans, it's normal to have communications and know that it's basically gonna end after a couple of seconds or minutes, right? And it is going to result in nothing meaningful. And that's how most people sell, right? Or if they sell, they just force, or if they sell, right, they don't listen. And that's so important. 90% of people will go out of a communication, right, that they had with you and say, hey, I had a great talk with this person if you were just listening, right? The person always has to talk more. So if I'm selling, if I'm talking to you guys, if I'm talking to anyone, I am not talking that much, right? I'm always asking questions. I tested it, right? I had a meeting and business was already over, right? So she was already closed, right? And then I started to basically try to talk to her 2 hours, right? She's a complete stranger, and she did not ask one question, not one. I never had that a person never asked me one little question. I don't know, right? But I kept the conversation going for more than 2 hours. And I wanted to do that to see if I have the skill to ask enough meaningful questions, right? And basically the person that I had the meeting with, or if you guys in the future going to have a conversation or a meeting, they will go out of the meeting and say, I had the best conversation ever, right? But the funny thing is that you didn't even talk. Why? Because it's not important if you talk, it's more important that the person that is in front of you talks, right? Because everyone loves themselves the most, right? And if I talk the most in a conversation, then I'm happy. Why? Because I'm going to say, oh, he's good in listening, right? Women always say, I need a man that is like can listen, right? But it's also on the different side. We all have to listen, and most likely we don't listen. We just wait until the person in front of us stops to talk so we can interrupt them basically and start to talk and to say what we want to say, right? Most likely we are just listening to wait until there's a gap, right? Where the person has to breathe, and then you are starting with your stuff. So it's bullshit, right? We are not listening to listen. We are listening to wait until we can fill the gap with whatever we want to say. So you have to really start stopping that and being more focused on analyzing the person. Do you even sometimes sit in front of a person and you analyze their face, like everything, right? Some people talk to people and you don't even know who you talk to. And it's so crazy funny if you start to analyze people, like how they talk, how they move, what they do, body language, right? Everything. It's so like you can tell if a person wants to talk to you or not, just by how their feet and how their legs are based. If they are based towards you, if they're based away, whatever, right? It's crazy. It's just one little move, one little body language can tell you a lot. So you have to start to learn that kind of stuff. Number two, right? Now we have basically number one, because we just talked about the natural selling definition, right? So two important things, again, asking questions and listening. Okay. I will first give you some principles and then questions, right? So I'm giving you first the principles and then I'm giving you the questions and like a whole, like how you can ask questions, everything. So today I have to go a bit faster, but you will have like a whole script that you will have to learn for the future, right? That you will implement in your future's conversations. And it's not only network marketing. If you understand this skill, right, you will be better in making friends. You will be better in dating, whatever, right? Like everything that has to do with communication, right? So all the men, you better pay me for dating and pickup line, not pickup lines, but pickup communication skills. I will send you my IBAN and dig into the chat later. And let's get started. So number one, right? When it comes to the principle, now we're talking about the principles. Number one, every purpose of business is helping someone else to solve their problems, right? Every purpose of business is to help someone else. That should be the number one goal of you guys. And I know when you start in the business, you're just selling because you're trying to make a living, right? You are selling because you have to. You are selling these elites because you need to. I understand that. I was in the same place. But the more comfortable, and I don't mean comfortable in a bad way, I mean comfortable in you have the option to take decisions and say, hey, I don't really care if you join or not, because it won't change, right? And I will tell you a story, a funny story later, but you will have to shift, you will have to shift from only selling to make money to listening, asking the right questions, right? And helping people to solve a problem. That's called empathic marketing, right? It's not just selling, it's having the empathy for someone. So you have to develop that. People that have empathy for other people will be very successful selling people, right? So that's number one. Number two is asking the right type of questions at the right time, right? Asking the right type of questions at the right time. That is principle number two. As I said, we are now talking about the fundament, about the principles. These principles later will be filled with the right questions. So you first need the principles, and then we will talk about the questions. Number two is asking the right questions at the right time. Okay, perfect. Number three is listening to what is being meant, not just what is being said. Okay, listen to people, not to just, to basically not what they just say, but what do they really mean, right? Most of us, we listen just to listen, but we don't think about what they mean. Have you ever, and I will let you guys write it down first. I will repeat it one more time, and then I will talk a bit about that. Listening to what is being meant, not just what is being said, right? It's not about just what someone says, it's what about someone means. Now, I don't know if you ever have talked to someone that is so comfortable to have enough gaps in when they talk. So not always on Zoom calls, because I'm a very fast speaker, because I have a lot of thoughts, but most likely if you're in a conversation with me about other stuff, not business, just in general about life, whatever, sometimes when you talk, I will just, take a couple of seconds. I learned to be confident enough to just wait a couple of seconds after you said anything, just to understand if I understood the meaning behind it. It is not possible to understand the real meaning of what someone is saying. You won't understand if you are, as I said, listening to wait for a gap to start to talk about your stuff, and you don't take time to imagine in conversation that goes 1 hour. There's so much information, there's so much stuff, but are you really listening to understand the meaning, or just listening? You have to develop the skill. My uncle, for example, is someone that I learned, I observed it, right? I didn't know why he's doing that, and it kind of annoyed me first. But he's a great thinker, right? He writes poems and books, and he's he's a crazy guy. And he thinks a lot when he asks a lot of questions. He's never someone that talks, but everyone talks to him, right? Because he's a great listener. But what he does is, after you said and you told him anything, he will just sit there and just think, and then give you sometimes it just takes time. And sometimes when he talks, he takes long pauses to answer. But the answer that you are getting is always what he means, not what he's saying. Now, I'm not teaching you guys and telling you guys you have to become someone else, or you have to mimic someone else, or you have to, take a 1 minute pause after every conversation, whatever. No, but start to adopt and understand that it's not only about what someone is saying, about the meaning. So number 4 is, and that's a very important thing, and I always do that, is feedback. Give people feedback on what you think you heard. Now, feedback is not, okay, cool, I like what you're saying, or I understand. Feedback is giving them back what you understood. So if you are going to tell me, for example, and I do this always, it changed my communication skills. If you're going to tell me a story, or if you're going to tell me a situation about yourself, I will ask you back and say, okay, so this and this and this means this and this and this. Did I understood it correctly? Right? I want to double check if I understood what someone is saying, because how many times have you experienced miscommunication where someone is saying A and you understand B, and you are taking not A but B from there on, and then you are trying to sell, you're trying to communicate, you're trying to vibe with someone, but you understood a whole different thing, right? Why? Because you don't ask if you got it wrong or right. So sum up, and it will help you a lot. Sum up what someone said. So if someone in a prospect call, right? If I have a call and someone will say me, hey, I'm 35, I have a job, I have a kid, I have a wife, right? I'm working. I basically hate my job. I want to change my life. I want to learn about trading. I got to know you through other people, right? That's what a guy told me yesterday on a closing. Then I will sum it up and I say, hey, okay, so you're 35, you have a wife, you're working, but you want to change your life, right? And you heard about me through friends. Is that correct? Yes. And then I continue, right? I sum up what I heard. Why is that important? Number one, the person will feel that you are listening and understanding, and that's what we want, right? There's one thing about communication, but there's also one thing. Do you like that's like, if I, how can I say that? Too many words, Miguel. Too many thoughts on one time. Sometimes I want to slap people, right? So I'm gonna say it like that. Sometimes I want to slap people because, do you ever experience that someone is giving you like his or her hand, like to shake the hand, but they are not looking at you? So they are coming into a group, right? And they are like hurrying and giving you the hand, but not like while giving you the hand, right? They're already sitting, right? Like they come in and they give it, but do you understand what I mean? Bro, I'm like, I could slap someone. I hate that. That's so disrespectful. If you're gonna shake the hand of someone, then do it correctly. Take your time. You just look a second in their eyes, or you don't even know who you're shaking, right? They come in like this. I'm like, bro, are you like dabbing or what the fuck is wrong with you? Like it makes no fucking sense. I hate that, bro. I don't think that people are doing that out of disrespect. I think many times it has to do with self-confidence and hierarchies, right? Most and everyone, we do that automatically. We always will, in the second that we talk to someone or see someone, we will position ourselves either above him or below him. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but most likely you will, and I don't know if that's because of that someone, I don't think it's disrespectful, because sometimes I'm also like confronted with people that I really respect, and I automatically, put myself under, like not under him, but we all have hierarchies, right? Hierarchy is the thing in psychology you can't, it's always. So I put myself on the respect level under him, for example. I have more, whatever, you guys understand what I mean. It's a bit difficult to explain for me in English to really, make sense of it, but I think you guys know what I mean. And then maybe it's out of respect, right? Maybe you're like careful, maybe you whatever, I don't know what it is, but I hate it. So don't do that, right? So that's also a very, very, very important thing, and you do it unconsciously, right? You do so much stuff unconsciously, most of it, that you will, if you start to learn about that stuff, you will see how bad sometimes you communicate or sell, right? So number one, the purpose of business, right, is helping to solve problems. Your call that you do, the calls that you do, every time you interact with a human, right, it's about helping them to solve the problem. Why is that? Because every time I answer a call, every time I join a Zoom call, every time someone messages me, there's always one sentence that I always say, and that is, how can I help you? Right? Always. Like, how can I help you? That's my first question always. So number two is asking the right questions at the right time. Number three is listening to what is said, right? But not only what is said, but what is meant, right? What is meant about it? What is meant? What do they mean? And then number four is giving them feedback on what you thought or you think you understood. And you will see so many times that people will correct you, right? You will say, oh, I understood this. And they will say, oh, no, I mean this and this on you. Okay, cool. And then you go on and then you're like, whoa, that's a whole different conversation, right? Because I understood it wrong. So these are the four principles. Now, how are we going to use these four principles, right? How are we going to use these four principles in our daily life now? Now, what I want from you guys is to, every time you communicate from now on, I want you to be focusing and focused on, how can I help this person, right? Asking the right questions, listening to what is meant, not what is said, and giving them feedback, okay? Now, we said questions are very important, right? It is the most important thing, is the art of solving problems, right? And asking the right questions. Now, if we go into a communication with a human and our goal is to help them solve their problems, we have to ask the right questions, because they will not come up to you and say, hey, I'm full, I'm broke, I'm depressed, whatever, help me. No, you will have to ask them questions so you understand. Most likely it is a very easy thing. Why? Because most people want to talk about what they don't like, what is negative, right? There's a country out there that is very highly, I don't want to say recommended, but highly known, and these are Germans, right? If you talk to a German person, you will in a minute find out all their problems. You don't even want to listen to it and hear it, but they will tell you, right? I'm not talking about every German, right? But most likely if you talk to a normal German, it is always what is wrong, oh, this weather, this life, this COVID, this whatever bullshit, right? So you just listen to them, and then same in Lithuania. It's a European thing, right? It's a European thing. Here in Dubai, for example, I've never had the word COVID since I'm here, 4 months, never. Never have seen it. No one talked about it, nothing crazy. So when we talk about the questions, right? Number one is the background questions. Okay, write down number one, background questions. You always start with a background. You always start with the background check, right? You can't just open a conversation and say, hey, tell me all your problems, I'm going to solve them. No, you first have to communicate in terms of background questions. What are background questions, right? Normal small talk, that's how it starts. These are background, where are you from, all this kind of stuff, right? But how can you make it more interesting? By asking, for example, what is your present situation? That's number one, right? What is your present situation? You don't ask like, what is your present situation? But we are asking like, where you from? What do you do? Whatever. That's okay. You start like that. Okay. Don't start freaky. Start normal. Where you from? What you doing? Whatever. Right. These are background questions, and these are basically questions to understand the present, of the person in front of you. Now, another question, and that's like a slightly different, interesting question, is how did you get to this point in life? How did you get to this point in your life? Right? It's like you can say, tell me your story, but you can also, and that's like demanding, but you can also say, how did you get to this point in life? Like if you are communicating with someone where you feel that it's kind of difficult to talk to him, you can't just say, hey, tell me your story. So what about your story? You can ask, and that's a bit different because it leads to the same thing, but they won't understand it in that second, is how did you get to this point in life? How did you get to this point in life? Okay, this is number one. This is the first, we always do that, right? We enter a Zoom call with a new person and we don't start selling right away. We are like, where are you from? What do you do? Right? How did you get to this point in life? What kind of education do you have? What are you pursuing? What are you got? Whatever, right? Number two is needs and awareness questions, right? Needs and awareness. Now we are talking about needs. We are finding out what are their needs. So we talked about the basic stuff. You know, we talked about asking questions. We talked about basically asking normal questions, right? Like, how are you? Where are you from? How did you get, like the present, like everything to now, okay? Now we have to continue. And the second part of the question is the needs question. We want to find out their needs. Okay, it's like development questions. We want to develop what the conversation, right? And what are questions that we can ask if we want to find out their needs? Can someone put them in the chat? Just like, how would you, trying to find out my problems, and saying what is your problem does not count, right? It's obvious. Can you repeat that sentence? My internet is lagging really bad. I'm sorry, I don't know which sentence it was. What is important to you? It's okay. What are your visions? Okay. Yeah. These are all good. I will give you one that is it will kill everything. What are your visions? That's cool. Some more. How would you how do you normally do it? Like, you talk to someone, right? You ask them like where you're from, they're gonna ask you, and then how do you continue the selling? You say like, oh, we have the products iGenius, we have an automation, do you want to buy it? Brother, do you want to buy my carpet? Huh? Like, that's not how you sell, guys. That's like the Egyptian guys sell, and no one wants to buy from them. Have you ever been to an Arab country like Morocco, Egypt, or whatever? It's crazy, like, or Turkey also counts. It's crazy how they're gonna sell the stuff to you. Like, how do they sell to you? Is it quality? No, they don't sell on quality, they sell on quantity. Like someone that sells you sunglasses, right? They're gonna sell sunglasses to you even though you are wearing sunglasses. I'm like, bro, I have sunglasses on. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? They don't care, right? Because they do it on not quality, they do it on quantity. But we don't want to do quantity, we want to do quality. What are your interests, your hobbies? Okay, but that's present questions. That's number one, right? This is about to find out their present. What do you want in your future and what is stopping you from getting there? Very good. Very good. Are you happy with your life? Yeah. They sold a fur coat to my mom in Turkey. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I like nearly had like a fight with 4 Americans in a tea shop because they didn't give me back the 20 whatever currency they have that we agreed on. I'm like, fuck you guys, like keep the 20, I'm out. That's crazy. Like never go, if you're a man, never go with 2 women to Morocco. Like I went with my mom and my sister, and the only job that I had was to, bargain the price. It was funny, but to some point I was exhausted and it sucked. Okay. So we talked about the present stuff, right? Now it's about understanding their needs. All these questions are good, but I will give you one that is crazy. Do you like your present situation? That's it. Do you like your present situation? Now, don't ask this to someone that is German because it's going to take an hour until they stop. But basically, anyone else, you can. I'm just kidding, guys. I love Germany. Sometimes it's like I don't like, but I love Germany. It's just a joking. So, do you like the present situation? Do you like your present situation? Do you like your present situation? Or what don't you like about your present situation? More specific, right? So if the conversation is going well, you can say, do you like your present situation? If not, or if it's like kind of difficult, or you still don't know if the person is open, then you can ask more directly, or like, I don't want to say directly, but it's kind of easier to ask like that way is, why don't you like your present situation? 2 questions, right? What don't you like about your current situation? What don't you like? Or basically, why don't you like your present situation and what don't you like about it? Okay. Now, if you ask this, so imagine again, we are on a Zoom call. First question you ask is, how are you doing? What's up? Where are you from? What are you pursuing? What is your education level? What are your hobbies? Where do you live? What are you, whatever, right? These are present, the first number 1, present background questions. Number 2 is to find out their problems. Easiest way. What don't you like about your current situation? What would you change in your current situation, right? Number 3 is solution questions. Now, in number 2, right, before we go into number 3, number 2 is where the person will tell you all their problems, right? They were going to tell you, what I don't like about my current situation. I'm working too much. I have too little holiday time. I don't make that much money, whatever. People will give you 1 or 2 things, right? You have to listen about what they mean and give them feedback. Now, a good seller will say back on feedback, not what he said, but what he meant. Very important. Now, if someone is going to tell me, hey, Miguel, or if I ask them the question, what is it that you don't like about your present situation? What would you change, right, in your present situation? What is it that you have problems with, right? How can I help you? What are problems in your life? Whatever, right? Then they will say, hey, as I said, I'm 35, I'm working too much, I don't feel energized, I can't go on holidays because I don't have money, I'm always in the same bullshit. Now I can give him back on feedback because we talked about feedback, right? I can tell them the same thing again. I can tell them, okay, so you're working, you don't want a normal life, whatever. But if you are smart and you give good feedback, you go on the meaning, right? You go more on the emotional kind of surface, kind of line, right? It's more like, oh, so it is more like, because it's always the same, but most likely the same, but you go like more onto, you focus more on the meaning than just what is said, right? You don't give the feedback on what is said, what he just said, right? It's like saying, hey, describe me this word, and you can't use the same word, right? But most people will just give the norm. If they give feedback, if you give feedback, very good. But if they give feedback, they will just throw the words back. But it's not about the words, about the meaning. So I will say, okay, so you feel, right, emotionally drained every day you wake up because you thought that your life will be different, right? And you are doing everything in the right way that society told you, but you found out after 10 years working, having a family, having everything society told you about, you should have to be happy, you're not feeling happy, right? Do you understand what I mean? That's more like the meaning. That's like the deep shit. That's what he's actually meaning, right? But he does not know how to say it. So he's saying, oh, I don't have holidays, I don't have time, I don't make enough, whatever. It's always the same, right? So that's the meaning. So I'm giving you back the meaning is like, oh my God, yes, Why will he like or she like that? Because you are listening. You are finally, there's someone finally listening to someone else, right? People will be like, oh my God, like it's not only what I said, it's like what I mean deep down. It's like, oh my God, I'm so connected to this person, right? Because you're talking about the meaning, because you're listening to understand, and you can, you can have the empathy. You feel the same thing. Now, we talked about 1, 2, now number 3, the solution questions. Okay, so now the person talked about the bad stuff, all they don't want, and you took your notes. Like you have no time, right? Because on what we just said, the example, the person said no time, right? Emotionally or basically drained. Okay, no, no, how can I say, no, no power in their life, basically, right? So no money, no time, no power, no, it's always the same bullshit, it's monotone and stuff like that. So these are like more than 3 things that we can sell, right? Because network marketing is fun. Las Vegas, right? Like, guys, network marketing is like a trip. Like network marketing is like, I don't know, network marketing is like everything. Like it's crazy, right? You have community, you have people, you learn, you travel, it's crazy, right? So network marketing is the answer for everything. It is community, it is health, lifestyle, wealth, mindset, personal development, right? Everything, it's crazy. Network marketing is crazy, crazy. So you guys know that. So on number 3, I will give you some questions, and these are solution questions, okay, that you can ask afterwards. Because the thing is, most people would start to sell now, right? Like, be honest, most of you guys would start to sell now and give them a solution for the problem. Is that right or right? Now you have 3 or 4 problems that you found out, 4, 3, whatever needs that you found out, and now you're going to sell, right? Okay, he told me he needs a carpet, so now I'm going to sell him a carpet, right? He told me he needs a washing machine, now I'm going to sell him a washing machine. No, that's not how it works. Because selling means that you have to get someone on the side, or basically you have to you have to manipulate someone to think like you are thinking to get the product. That is basically selling. And people don't want to be sold. People don't want the feeling that that someone is selling them anything. Like most likely, if you are confronted with someone selling anything, let's say someone calls you on your phone and wants to sell your product. What do you say? No, I don't have time, buy, beep. Okay, number 1. That's selling, right? Let's say you just want to casually chill in a shop and buy some whatever, right? Furniture, some new clothes. There's a lady coming to you asking you the question, can I? And you already say, oh no, thanks, I'm just like looking around, right? Why are we doing this? Because we know in the next hand they will start to sell us stuff. We don't want that. It's uncomfortable, right? It's all uncomfortable, but why are you doing it? You don't want to be sold anything, but why are you selling, right? It's the same thing. So we have to not start to sell right now, but we have to convince them, or not convince them, right? We don't convince the people, but we have to give them we have to get him to we have to get the person that we are selling the product to have the solution in front of their eyes for themselves. Now, do you understand? And that's a very deep sentence, but do you understand that every person has the answer for all their questions? Right? It's not like we don't teach. I can't teach you anything. You already know it. I'm just like unlocking it by describing it in different ways and putting it in front of your conscious mind. So you start to think about it and be more conscious about it, and then to change it. But I cannot teach you. It's not possible. Right? We don't learn by someone teaching us. We learn by someone unlocking our thought path in a different way. And we know that, right? We know that. We know that like, I give you an example, and please say yes or no and be honest. If you are at 1 a.m. in the morning at a gas station, 1 a.m. in the morning at the gas station, and you are with your car on the gas station, and you're getting out of the car to, pump some gas. And next to you on the left side, okay, there's a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Do you think casually, normally, oh, he basically 100% went to school, right? And then he studied, and now he has a Ferrari? Or do we already know that he didn't do it that way? Do we know, or do we think, oh, it's drug money, right? Or whatever, he has his business, right? Or he's like, whatever, or rich parents. Like, be honest. What is your thought? Is your thought like, oh yeah, he went to school and then he studied hard and then he bought a Ferrari or Lamborghini? No. No. That's not, nah. We know like, oh no, that's like, like 1 a.m. in the morning, like that's drug money, whatever bullshit, right? And you see like a 25-year-old and maybe you're older, you're like, bro, what the fuck, right? That's no, we have like, it's drug money, rich parents, right? Whatever, cryptocurrencies. Right? These days, it's like crypto most of the time. Most people that you see on Dubai that have money now, all these cars are crypto. They will crypto, all crypto, right? So we don't think it's like, oh yeah, he went to school, he had good grades, and then you worked hard for someone else. We know that's bullshit, right? So now if I want to teach you on getting a rich mindset, will I throw words at you and say, you have to think like that. You have to understand that school is bad. Like, I'm not saying like that, but just imagine, right? That's what all these coaches say. They're like, oh, school is bad. Okay, basically I say the same, but not the same like in terms of that school is bad, don't get me wrong, but in terms of it won't make you rich, right? But how can I teach you this? I can teach you by manipulating, by forcing you to think what I think, but I'll give you an example like I just did. So you're like, aha, right? That's a different way. I did not sell you the idea that someone that has a Ferrari went to school, right? And studied hard and had good grades and then worked for someone, right? It happens, right? It happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, right? Some people sometimes message me and just say like, oh, school, you always talk about school and whatever. No one is, bro, no. But, we talk about average. We talk about numbers. And we know that, and we have the same thoughts. So that's how I'm not selling to you, right? But I'm making you think the same way. So I'm changing your mindset. I'm giving you the answer. I'm unlocking the answer that you already have. Because I didn't force you to think like I did, but you understood that we all have the same thoughts when we see a Ferrari pulling up at 1 a.m. in the morning and we are sitting in our shitty Fiat, right? And working hard 9 to 5. And your family did it and you're like, what the fuck? Like, why, what the fuck is wrong? So you guys all know what I mean. So before we sell, after knowing the needs, there comes the most important part is number 4, solution questions. We don't sell yet. We still have questions to ask. Number 4, solution questions. Now we're going to force him positively to understand and answer him the question for himself. Because natural selling means that at the end of the day, the person comes to you and says, oh my God, I need to do this business. It's not like, oh, you need, like not me telling you, you need to do this business. You're selling them on the idea to understand them by the right question. So solution questions, what would you do about your present situation? What would you do about your present situation? Now you ask them, right? You ask them in number 3, what don't you like, right? Or what do you like about your present situation? You have positive and negative if you want, or if you just ask about the negative, like what don't you like about your present situation? Now you're asking, what would you do about your present situation? What would you do about not having enough money? What could you do, or what are you planning to do, right? If you are working too much and you have too little money, what are you planning to do to spend more time with your family? What would you do, right? These are all questions that you have to ask them. Why? Because you are unlocking the logical, self-understanding part of the person. So you're not selling to them, but you're creating a solution in their own mind. And what someone created in their own minds, right, cannot be changed. I don't know how you close people for the business, but I most likely close people on 5 questions, right? 5 steps by GoPro Eric Worre. I don't know if you know them, but number 1 is what did you like most? Number 2 is if you would do this business, how much time could you invest? Number 3 is how much money would you like to make with this business? And number 5 is could you imagine to build this business with X time, right? To achieve X money income in X, like X money income in X time with, whatever. And then I ask them and they say yes. And if they say yes, they will join. Why? Because it's their plan, not mine. Because I asked them, how much time do they have on a daily basis? I asked them, if you would start now, how much, like until when would you like to earn this money? Because I asked them how much money you want to earn, right? Again, question number 1, what did you like most? Question number 2, right? How much time do you have on a daily basis for this business? Let's say 2 hours. Number 3, right? How much money would you like to earn with this business? $2,000. Number 4, if you start today with 2 hours invest, until when would you like to earn $2,000? 5 months, 6 months, whatever, right? Last question, number 5. If I would show you a business, right? If you would join me under my link to make your plan successful, or to realize your plan of making $2,000 with the 2 hours invest every day for the next 6 months, would you start with us? Would you start with me? Would you sign up? If they say yes, or basically if you did it right, they will say yes. Why? Because it's their plan, not yours. You did not project whatever you think on someone, but you asked the right questions, and it's their plan. So if it's their plan, how can they say no? They can only say no if you told them stuff that they don't think is real. Do you sometimes, stupid question or stupid way to ask this question, you know this feeling when you are talking to someone and there's still one thing open that you want to ask, but the person is just ignoring you and going on, and you're still stuck in this one present moment or question. We all know that, right? We all know that if we still have this one question and they are going over and continuing, and we're still like, we know it from school, right? Sometimes, let's say a lecture is 1 hour. I still remember that when I studied law, right? When I studied law, like crazy. When I studied law, basically when we started to, what was it? How do you say it in English? I don't even know. Whatever. There was a part in law that really sucked hard. And like one lecture was 1 hour, right? And they the prof started to start to lecture, and after 2 minutes I had a question, and they don't care about the questions, right? Like they don't answer your questions, you can't ask them. So after 2 minutes I still had the question in my mind, and after 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, because I couldn't ask and couldn't get the answer of the question, I was out. Now he continued to lecture another hour, but I was out in the first 3-4 minutes. All right, and we all know this feeling. Why? Because people are just continuing to sell, to talk, to whatever, but there's still one thing that you will and need to understand. So that's a big difference in between school and university. And most people that are in university or have been like exposed to university once in their life, they know the difference, right? You can't ask questions basically anymore. Sometimes you can, but most likely not. Okay, so solution questions. What would you change about your present situation? What would you do about your present situation? And they will tell you, oh, I need to earn more money, right? I need more time, and to have more time, I don't know what to do, right? Because another job means more money, but less. They are fucked. That's basically what you want to achieve, that they understand they have no fucking solution, right? To come to a point on this. Do you understand this? Do you all understand where we are going with this? Or already out, right? We are asking smart questions to lead to a way where you always win. And number 5, after asking solution questions, number 5 is qualifying questions. Qualifying questions. We are not selling yet. We have 5 major questions that we ask in a selling process. And there are 4 principles that we just talked about. The 4 principles do not work if you don't use the 5-step question system, the ladder, the escalation, right? Number 5 is qualifying questions. Are you prepared to change your present situation if? Are you prepared to change your current situation if? Are you prepared to change your life if? Are you prepared for the solution if? And what comes after the if? Can someone tell me in the chat what comes after the if? So I asked about the present situation. I asked and identified the needs. I asked them about the solution to tell me what they think is their solution, because I want them to understand, right, that there's a solution for this. Are you prepared to change your present situation if I show you a business where you can have more time, where you can potentially earn more money, and where it leads to real happiness? Because money is not worth nothing if you don't have time with your kids. Now, I know a lot of people in network marketing that are able to bring their kids to school and pick them up again and be there for them whenever they want, right? That's a way how you could say it. Your guys are already selling, right? You start today. Yes, that's Paulina. That's correct. If I'm using it in a term or in a way of closing someone, but we are still in the sales process, right? So we are talking about the beginning. Number 1, questions about the present. Number 2, questions about needs. Number 3, questions about what would they change. Solution. Number 3, solution. Yeah. And number 4, right? What would you do about the present situation, right? So first present, now I'm getting confused. First present, then needs and awareness, right? Then number 3, what was number 3? Present, needs, awareness. Now I have a blackout. Can someone tell me what was number 3? Solution questions. Number 4. Okay, number 3, what solution? What was number 4? Qualifying questions, right? Perfect, thanks. Okay, so number 1, present. Number 2, needs and awareness. Number 3, solution. Number 4, qualification, right? Perfect. And number 5 is basically, you know, the part where we'll ask them about, you know, getting it done. So solution, qualification, perfect. Okay, so one more time, the last question, number 5. One more time. You know this network marketing, like the network marketing question from like GoPro. If I would you, right? If I would you, that's the same thing basically. Are you prepared to change your present situation if? That's the same like if I would you. If I would show you how you can, blah blah, would you, right? So are you prepared to change your present situation if? Are you prepared to change your present situation? Then you're gonna fill their needs, what they said. Are you prepared to change your situation, right? Of not having money, of not having time, if I'd show you this business, if I'd show you, send you a video, if I'd invite you to this event. Because now you have more leverage. Now you have a higher quality of connection to the person because they told you their story. They told you, you know, what they really want. They understood that you understand what they mean. Now we still have a couple of 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes left, right? And I want to give you some magic words, right? Some magic words that you will and should include in your future's conversation. And you have to, like, what you learned today, right? Print it out somewhere and have it with you. Repeat it. You will have to repeat it at least for 3 months, you know, until it really sinks in, until it's really a part of your day-to-day conversation style. Many of this stuff, right? Many of this stuff took me a long time to use, and I don't use it always the same way, but it will help you a lot, right? You don't have to, like, at the beginning, do it in a system. In the future, it can be different, right? But you have the 4 principles. Okay, you have the 4 principles. The purpose of the business is helping someone, asking the right question, right time. Number 3, listening, right? Listening and meaning what is said. Number 4, feedback. What did you hear and what did they mean? Not what you heard, but what do they mean, right? Now, when it comes to the questions, we just talk about the 5 questions. Number 1 is to present. Number 2 is the needs, to find out the needs, right? Number 3 is the solution, right? These are questions that are very, very important that will lead, right, to qualification questions and to the end. Now, what are magic words? And I will just give them to you and then you can write them down and you can start to use them, right? Magic words. Would it be okay? Would it be okay? Okay. Not can I, may I, would it be okay? This little word okay increases the chance of someone saying yes by a lot. Okay, it increases the chance of whatever you want by a lot. If you say, is it okay? Okay, is it okay if I ask you a question? Is it okay if I invite you to whatever? Is it okay if whatever? Okay, this little okay, why is okay so important if you understand and analyze it? Because okay is not like yes, but it's not no. When do we say okay? It's like, okay, yeah, okay. Well, like we don't really know where it's going. So we are not, you know, sometimes people will say no because it's a bond, like it can't go over that. Like it's no, or it's yes, right? I want it, or no, I don't want it. But okay is like, is it okay for you? And the person will say, yes, it's okay for me. Okay, most likely. It's a very, very high probability that you will get what you want if you ask by, is it okay? Okay. So is it okay if is a very important magic word. Another one is everybody says. Everybody says. Everybody says. Everybody says. Most people is another one. Like everybody says that they have no idea about finance. That's why I have my own community and teach them. Is it okay for you if I give you a piece of information, 5 minutes video? Right? Just an idea how you can use these words. Most people, everybody says, then most people, everybody says. So we had is it okay? Most people, everybody says, and the last one is everybody knows. Okay. Is it okay, or would it be okay? Everybody says, most people, and everybody knows. These are words that you have to include in your day-to-day conversation, especially when it comes to selling, when you want to make a point. Why is that so empowering? Because it always includes other people. People fear to be the first. People fear to do stuff no one else did. Right? That's why the exception of your business will increase by a lot if people start to see you with other people. Now imagine people that are following you. Do you guys understand what I mean? Like you're all looking at me like I'm okay, easy. Everyone's like, what is he saying? Okay, easy. So do you sometimes see someone being the first and you're like, oh my God, he's an idiot, she's an idiot. What the fuck is he or she doing? Right? And as soon as we start to see them being with more people doing the same stuff, you're like, oh my God, like it's one idiot is like, like he's an idiot or she's an idiot. And then it's like 2 idiots. Okay, maybe 2 idiots. And then they're like 3 idiots. Okay, maybe 3. And then it's like 10 idiots. Like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, how can sometimes people tell me like, this is a scam. And I tell them, yes, it is a scam if I would have a team of like maybe 10 people, but I have found 4,000 idiots. Do you think it's easy to find 4,000 idiots out there in the world and to charge them a monthly fee of $175 and they continually pay it by a ratio of 70% on 6 months? Do you think there's so many stupid people? Right? That's, for example, an example. There's another thing that is crazy that basically just kills my point, but I'm just gonna tell it anyways because everything in the world is binary depending on where you want to use it. But who has been on the Rich Call last Sunday with Lisa? Type a 1 in the chat if you have been, or me, or whatever, or yes, if you have been on the call with Lisa. What did Lisa say? Lisa talked about a very important thing where she went to her mentor and said, hey, I can't sell this product to them because of this and this and this reason. And then her mentor, you used a little bit of dark humor and talked about this one, I don't know the name anymore, but it's very well known, where a man, I don't know how many people it was, but it was a lot of people, 40, 50, 60 people. He convinced 40, 50, 60 people to kill themselves by drinking whatever bullshit. And they all died because of a religious, I don't want to say it's a religious reason why they did that, but he convinced like a lot of people to kill themselves with him by drinking whatever bullshit. Now, do you think you cannot sell a life-changing product to someone? Right? It's just a mindset thing. It's just like, how good are you? It's a skill. And please, this skill, it was 900 people. The fuck? 900 people. Okay, that's a number, right? I don't know the name. If you know the name, I could tell you, then you could Google it, but I have to check it. I can, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Don't focus on that stuff. It's bullshit. But you have to understand that this skill set is very, very powerful and you can harm a lot of people, but you can also help a lot of people. So please be very conscious of how you use natural selling, right? You can do a lot of bullshit and bad stuff with it. Now, natural selling is more like a kind of good way, but manipulation, right, is different. You can manipulate very hardcore. Okay, so for example, if I talk to my girlfriend, I never say, can you? I always say, can we? Right? I'm like, can we eat some food? Can we cook some food? Like, can we bring the trash out? Right? Like, always talking we. And she already, like, I do it automatically. And she's like, always, can we? Right? Because it's a manipulative word. It's like we. Like, I don't say like I do it or you do it. I say, can we do it? Right? It's like more we do it, but at the end of the day, she does it. You know what I mean? So these are like I want you to understand that this is a very big topic, right? And you can do a lot of good and you can do a lot of bad with it, right? So choose to use it wisely, choose to really impact people by using the skill, be focused on developing the skill, right? And you're always open to give me feedback if this somehow helped you, right, in the future. So if you in the future feel that natural selling changed how you sell, it does. And I will take another 2 or 3 minutes and then I'm ending because I told you guys that I wanted to tell you a crazy story. So can you give me a one in the chat if you understood everything until here? Like, oh, you have all the notes, you understood everything, you took everything down? Okay, easy, perfect. That's important. So there was a girl in my DMs that messaged me or texted me, and she was like, hey, can we have a Zoom call? I had talked to this and this person, and she told me about the business, and I'm following her, and they showed me the presentation. So many times people come to me after they had like Zoom calls with you guys to just talk to me like and have a couple of questions, right? And then I said, yes, easy, let's have a call. And then I messaged this person that she was mentioning that she had a call with, and I screenshotted, sent her, and I'm like, hey, does it make sense to talk to her? Because sometimes people are so freaky, you know, like they have like, bro, like they ask me like 200 questions, and then I'm like, bro, I don't have time for it, right? So I told her, this person that I've sent it, like a partner, then I sent it the screenshot, and she said, oh, be careful, like she's very, very annoying. She has like a lot of questions, always the same questions, right? She's not, not really listening, and she's like just asking too much and taking too much time, right? Sometimes we have very annoying people. So like, I don't mean it in a bad way. I was very annoying too. So I asked so many questions. So basically what I said is I like that because I like challenge, right? I love Zoom calls where someone is very, very intelligent and asks like very hardcore questions. Because imagine guys, I do it since 4 years and it's always the same stuff. Like I answer it's always the same answers. But if someone is like, I don't want to say intelligent, but I want to say like they are very careful and skeptical. I like to talk to these people because it's like if I get them to join the business, it makes fun, right? It's like not manipulating, but with natural selling, because I don't really manipulate them anymore like I used to do in the beginning, because that's what I learned. Because if you Google selling, they will sell you books about manipulating. You have to learn how to manipulate. You have to learn about to use the hot button. But no one talks about natural selling, about the real deal, and that's natural selling, right? Every time in life you think you are the G or you have a skill, then there's someone that can teach you even more that is even better. That's the same with selling, right? No one knows about selling. Then there comes manipulation and all these tricks. And then there comes natural selling, what we talked about. So you guys just skipped a step, right? If you didn't teach yourself about manipulation, it's cool to learn, right? But you skipped a step in terms of skill. Now, this girl, to come back to the story, I had a call with her. I told her I only have 15 minutes, right? Because I want the people I had more time, but I always say that because I want people, and that's why we say in network marketing, I don't have that much time, even though we have, it's just, we want them to, have the most important questions in a short time frame, because then the conversation sometimes can go 2 hours. The conversation nearly got to an hour because it was very interesting, but she started to ask me questions, right? She started to ask me questions like, hey, how fast can I become successful? How much money can I make? Will I be break even after 3 months? Why did iGenius, former was Cuvera, and then former was Wealth Generators? Why are people not making money with Endotech since 4 or 5 or 6 months, since I've checked it on the blah, 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 and blah, blah. Now, what would most people normally do now? They would say, and start to sell and start to give arguments, right? They would argue against it. They would say, hey, yes, but Endotech, if you see it in, in the last couple of years and the last couple of, months or whatever, you would be in profit. That's a fact, right? Selling through facts. Then you would say, oh, because, at first, whatever, it really doesn't matter because companies often change their name and that's marketing and whatever, right? That's what people would answer, like normal stuff, like just selling them, right? But what I actually did, and very important, is that you have to understand that you need to have the knowledge, right? You need to have a broad knowledge on what you do, and this will come and come and come, and you will gain more and more and more and understand more and more about the company. Because some of you are sitting here like, okay, why did iGenius first was, wealth generators, and then Covero, and now it's iGenius. Why did they change the name so often? And many people would say, oh, that's suspicious. Why do they change, And then on the internet, and that's where she came from, right? Because she researched on the internet, she found these articles where it says it's a scam, right? We all saw that, to be honest. We all saw that on the internet. It says iGenius is a scam, Endotech is scamming you. There's a lawyer website, right? There's like an article. There's so much stuff on Reddit. They talk about us. Basically, they talk about us everywhere and all say it's a scam. It doesn't work. They just want your money. It's whatever bullshit, right? Endotech is this and this, and iGenius is this and this, and whatever. Now, funny thing, number one is what I told her is, hey, I'm confronted, and you can copy that. I'm confronted with many times, and many times people come to me and tell me tell me what you just told me, but I've never seen effect. So why do I have to give you facts about a question that you have without a fact? Do you understand? Why should I answer someone that accuses me or our company or Endotech or whatever of stuff, but there's no fact? Have you ever seen, put one in chat if you did research before you started? And hopefully everyone. Like if people just join like this, I'm like more scared about, like, just kidding. But most people, right, they do a lot of research. Now put a one in the chat if you researched on what are you joining here. Hopefully you did, right? Because you put $1,500 on the table. And if you didn't, you are a dolphin. What is a dolphin? Dolphin is a type of personality, and they are not rare, but dolphins are people, they go to a party, they don't even know where it is, they don't know how to go there, but somehow they get there and they come back, and they were so drunk they didn't even know where and what they did, but they liked it, right? That's a dolphin type. Dolphins, like, they take decisions on whatever they do. Like, I'm the direct opposite. Okay, so this, like, dolphins do that, but other personality types, you call them dolphins. So I didn't make it up, but these people, they just jump in. But most likely you did research. Okay, now be 100% honest. Did you ever had any proof? Was there a proof? Did they give you a proof that Endotech doesn't work? They will say, oh, Endotech doesn't work and blah blah blah, and they're just gonna scam you and the money and blah blah. Like, where's the proof? Like, brother, show me where your money is gone. Show me where, like, why is it so hard for you to put a fucking screenshot under what you just said where it shows that your money is gone by Endotech? Like, bro, where? I never seen it, right? They're going to scam, iGenius is going to scam you for your money. Then show me, brother, why don't you just like, why can we show our profits? But why can't they show us that the money was gone? Like, bro, what the fuck? Now, that's what I say to people. I'm saying, hey, okay, I understand that you have these questions, that you are concerned, whatever, but have you found the proof? Because all the presentations, everything we do is a proof, right? We are showing them. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, Endotech is making or is in minus since 4, 5, 6 months. It is, yes, 100%. And then we have to be honest about it, right? But then also, again, right, it's a long-term product, right? These are facts, a long-term products. And it's not always bad by selling about facts, but it's a long-term product. If you check it before, blah, 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 blah. But then also show me, right? Show me that someone used Endotech and is in minus. I know that people are, because I have the customers. I see the customers. I am a customer. I am in minus, right? I have the proof for it. So number one, fuck, it's already 40 minutes after. I'm getting to it, guys, okay? Number one, talk about what is obvious. Always be honest and talk about what is obvious. People will see it, notice it. So always talk about what is obvious. Number two is you don't have to answer to someone that is accusing you of anything if they don't have proof, right? So if someone does not have proof, then you have to tell them. Basically, you want that they join. Like, for example, if you're gonna tell me, hey, Miguel, I want to find out about Endotech and I read and this, I'm telling you, hey, you don't have proof. I'm not going to tell you shit, blah, blah. I'm not doing that, right? But I could say, like, as I just said it in the call with her, I said, hey, there is no proof. I have a lot of proof. Did you ever find any negative thing about iGenius with a proof? I have never seen any proof. Since 4 years, I get thrown questions, words, bullshit, but I've never seen one single proof. Now, why is it that many people are still saying that about the company? Why is that? Now we talk about the obvious again. What is logic? What, like, the person knows, right? I asked them back, why would people do that? Be smart, ask questions. Why would people put in a chat? Why would people go on Reddit, social media, internet, websites, and say and talk about badly in a bad manner about what we do. Why is that? Because yes, that's the logical stuff, because they didn't put enough effort in, because they didn't get the results, because they whatever, right? It's always easier to blame someone, some company, whatever, than ourselves. But why also? Because it is true. It is true. Some people join this company and they think they got scammed. Why? Because we can't, like, I have a team of many people. I can't control all of you. I imagine that we have people in our team that sell the product in a poor manner and will over exaggerate the results, and the people will not have these results, and then they will quit the business and they will go on Reddit and say, hey, they said I'm going to be rich in 3 months and I'm not rich now, so this is a scam. But if you sell on this expectation, yes, it will happen. So I say, hey, I can't control everyone, okay? There's always a black sheep, okay? And it's not meant in any racist way. It's a pretty racist word anyways, but it doesn't matter, right? Just wanted to say that. But it is very important that this can happen, right? You can tell them, yes, we are humans. There's problems, right? People over-exaggerate, they sell it wrongly, but you can be happy because I'm not doing this. You can be happy to have me, right? That's another word you can do. Now, what else happened? She told me that, hey, why is the company, that's very suspicious, and that's very, like, really the last thing. She said, why is the company first formerly called Wealth Generators, now iGenius, now first Covera, then iGenius, right? And you have to know that I know it, and I told her, hey, now if it comes to the company, does it make more sense to listen to someone on the internet that did not even join the company talking bad about us, or is it smart to ask someone that is in the company since 4 years, right? Or basically 2 years, but 4 years in the industry and knows the company. Right? And I tell her, hey, and I know you can't say that, but never forget, please never forget, we are here to help you, right? The leaders here are here to help you, to jump on the call with you. So whenever you don't know what to say, just say, hey, excuse me, I don't know what to say, but I think there's a very easy explanation for that. Can I include my mentor to this conversation? Easy, right? And then get someone that knows it. Get Marta, right? She knows it. Get people, get emails. He knows it, right? Get people to the call or into the call that knows it if you can't. So I'm telling her, hey, I've been part of the company since 2 years. I know the history of the company since they started. And first they were named Wealth Generators because the founders named it Wealth Generators. Now these founders played around, took money from the top leaders, basically didn't pay them out because money and business was going very bad, right? People were not joining anymore, were leaving. The company was poorly structured. Then there came an investor called Brian McMullen. He invested money into the company so the company can survive. And then they named the company Covera, right? Because he became a big investor. And if you invest a lot of money into a project, you want to name it, right? Imagine, I don't know, imagine buying imagine putting 2 million into a company and now the company is called Peter Meyer, but your name is Miguel Vies, right? Like, you want to change the name, bro. Like, let's be honest, right? You want to change the name. Like, you put 2 million and you want to change the name. So he changed the name to Covera. Now then Covera, still same CEOs, fucked it up again, over and over again. They came back to Brian. They went back to Brian and said, hey, we need another 2 million. He said, if I put another 2 million in, then I'm stepping in as a CEO ruling the company because you idiots can't. And that's what happened, right? He put 2 million in, became CEO, kicked everyone out because he found out that they were taking money from the company. And then he named the company iGenius after 1 year because he entirely changed the company. Now, is that an explanation that makes sense? If you compare it to an internet explanation where someone says, oh, they are scammed because they first were named Wealth Generators and now they're genius. They change the name every 2 months. Does it make sense for you that this can happen? That a company starts being named Wealth Generators for 5 years. There was a problem. There's an investor coming in. He named it Covera. They continue to do the same bullshit. He stepped in, said, we're going to change the whole company. And when the whole company is changed, we're going to name it one more time iGenius. Does it make sense for you? Yes, it makes sense because that's a real explanation. And that's what people want. She left the Zoom call. I don't know if she joined. I have to ask. But she left the Zoom call and said, thank you for being so honest and telling what is obvious. Because why? Because people know what is obvious. You know what is, like, you just want to hear it. Like, if you are joining a Zoom call and you know you can't get rich in 3 months and you have someone in front of you selling your product where they tell you you will be rich in 3 months, right? It makes no sense. You are talking about this and they talking about this. It makes no sense. So you will not join. But if I say, hey, I'm 100% like, because if you ask me this question, like, until when can I be profitable, right? And I say 3 months. No, I will say it depends, right? It's a long-term thing. It's a long-term business. And that's the last thing, right? Okay, I promise the last thing. You rather have people not joining your business because you gave them the right expectation than people joining your business with the wrong expectation, because they're going to quit anyways, right? So that's the last thing I wanted to say. I promised it to you guys. Hopefully this was informative for you. That's hopefully how you say it. I hope you can, use natural selling in your day-to-day life, not only network marketing, right? Because all your life is selling. Review the information, use it, print it out, have it someone where you can, over and over remember yourself of this information, because you will forget it and will basically go back into your habits if you don't, right? And your habits is the poor selling skills that you have as an average human, because no one taught you about it, right? Now you skipped a very big part and went directly into the best selling art, and that's natural selling. And we see us on Attendemic. We see us on the next Nugget call. Thank you for being here. And as always, guys, TPR is the crown. Let's go. We see us.